Welcome to Pinsar Basketball Live. A little bit of a new setup tonight. Late game, we are at 117, and the Toronto Raptors lose. Another one. It was super close. It wasn't supposed to be close. It wasn't close going into the fourth quarter. Y'all remember that there was this store when you were growing up, and they went out of business, and another store opened up there, and that store went out of business. And it seemed like no matter what store ever came there, they all went out of business. Right now, the Toronto Raptors in the fourth quarter are the store that just keeps going out of business. It felt like the Clippers could have done them every favor in the world. They could have missed 100 free throws. They could have gotten 15 technical fouls. I think James Harden could have just taken a siesta. Maybe the coach could have just gotten himself tossed out, and it didn't matter because the Raptors were going to throw this game away. But you know what? Competitive loss. That's what you want. If you're a tank world order believer, you want games like this. You lose by 2. You had a chance. Another game where you have that tip in opportunity. How many games are we going to play like this? There were some real positives tonight. Let's take a look at it. We're going to do the film. We're going to do the breakdown. I'll ask you to bear with me. I'm working off a laptop. It's really small. So I'm going to be a little bit clunky with all that stuff. But please give this stream a like for all my technical difficulties today. It's been one hell of a one. Okay. 103, 105. The Toronto Raptors. Wow. Like, what can you say, right? I mean, you weren't really supposed to win this game, but you do get Immanual Quickley back, and that was a huge, huge thing. But if I told you that Bruno Fernando had a really competent game and was probably the reason you were even in this game to begin with, I think you might just think Bruno Fernando is amazing. Bruno Fernando deserves a fully guaranteed contract, Rob. I think that's just to highlight just how terrible Jakob was tonight. The Toronto Raptors surged in the third quarter, 33-24. And yes, you did require a little bit of a self meltdown from the Clippers, but they hang on, they win. I pointed it out very early in the game that the Toronto Raptors had made a mistake because there's this thing, the Intuit Dome is a really new arena. They have invested $2 billion into this thing. It is state of the art. It is a fantastic, fantastic place to go. If you ever have a chance to be in LA, definitely consider it. There's, everything from the fan experience is awesome. It's a once, it feels like among NBA teams, it's like a once in a thing. So the big highlight is the wall, and teams get to choose which basket they're going to score on. And smart teams choose to shoot against the wall in the first half so that they get to flip it to the next side. Not the Toronto Raptors. No, the Toronto Raptors had to shoot against the wall in the second half. I mean, I don't know statistically how much it influences, but it's supposed to influence, and it's supposed to influence free throw rates. Anyways, tonight, Jakob 1 for 6, man. That doesn't even tell it. 1 for 6, 4 turnovers. We're going to do the film breakdown, and you are going to see just how bad some of these performances were from specifically Jakob there were moments with RJ Barrett that were just like, what the hell are you doing? Davion Mitchell, just the disaster class that was. It was awful, man. Uh, Jamison Battle just could not hit a 3 tonight, which sucks. He did not get bench production. Jonathan Mobo goes scoreless, although I do think he did some positive stuff. It is hard to play some of the lineups you're playing. Chris Boucher was a tale of two halves, right? You get Chris Boucher in the first half, awesome. Sorry, Chris Boucher in the second half, awesome. Chris Boucher in the first half, holy crap, almost single-handedly buried your team, and it's unfortunate because you have a lot of unselfish guys, and the ball just keeps finding Davion and Chris Boucher, Davion and Chris Boucher, Davion and Chris Boucher, and they just keep launching, and the process is not great. Tonight, honestly, you get the best game from Ochai Agbaji. He was perfect tonight. I know he didn't make every single shot. He missed 5 shots. He missed 3 threes. Doesn't matter. He was perfect. Believe me, that +2 next to his name does not even do justice to how good he was tonight. And you have a player right now that when you're healthy probably isn't starting for you. So what does that say about your bench? That means you have a rotation that is at least 8 deep because Ochai plus Kelly plus Bruce are real pros. And this guy wasn't really a real pro last year. So I think that if you want to count your blessings right now, Ochai Agbaji is freaking awesome. And he's been awesome all season. And he was really decent defensively tonight. Immanuel Quickley comes back. He draws the job of James Harden, and I thought at times he did a pretty good job. At times he sold. So it was a mixed bag. But you get 21 points from Immanuel Quickley, really turned it on in the second half, including a pull up near logo three, which was really cool. RJ Barrett, as I mentioned, struggled defensively, struggled offensively, struggled with decision making, couple of turnovers that were just real backbreakers. The Raptors overall as a team kind of limited their turnovers tonight. Who else sticks out? Who else sticks out? Grady was fine. Grady was good, man. Grady was, very much needed, very timely. Got to the basket a lot. So yeah, he didn't have the greatest night in terms of shooting, but man, he is drawing a lot of defensive pressure. On the other side, man, you got Norman Powell, right? Including that back-breaking three to that was kind of the final basket for them. James Harden just lived at the line, baited fouls all night, right? If the refs don't bail him out for 13 fouls, he has a terrible night, 5 for 17. I think they did a pretty good job. Davion Mitchell deserves a lot of credit for that. Immanuel Quickley deserves a lot of credit for that. Father Time deserves a lot of credit for that because, frankly, he's just not the same player. Ivica Zubas, he had 14 points and 12 rebounds, and it feels like he did a lot of his damage in the first half and a lot of it against Jakob Poeltl. I swear there was a play where Ivica Zubas made Jakob Poeltl made Ivica Zubas look like Hakeem Olajuwon out there. And honestly, we need to study Jakob Poeltl's defensive regression because his offense has been pretty trash at times. I understand he's shooting a career high in terms of points and rebounds and all that stuff, largely because of load, largely because of injuries, largely because of minutes. But you are over leveraging this guy as a lead decision maker in the middle of your offense, and he's not Nikola Jokic, and he's coughing the ball up a lot, and he's making some really terrible reads as well. Really. Okay. So, yeah. And I got to say, Darko Rajakovic tonight, just really, really mixed reactions to him overall. There was a play where Norman Powell fell out of bounds and the Raptors are going 5-on-4 in transition. Darko's like, yeah, this is the time to call a timeout. Yeah, you're trying to make a point about the blown defensive assignment, but bro, you're in transition and you're 5-on-4. On the other end, the Raptors' transition defense was absolutely abysmal. Back-to-back plays where you have guys crashing the glass, they don't get back, and the Clippers get a 3-on-2 run. We're going to look at some clips tonight and today, and you are going to see, like, I'm going to eviscerate this team because honestly, as much as you want to be congratulatory and say, hey, 2 points, you were there, unlike the Sacramento game, which was close and we choked, unlike, well, sorry, the Sacramento game we made over, unlike the other games where we've been close and we've choked, especially the two Nuggets games where you lose at the buzzer, this did not feel like this was a spectacular James Harden performance that just did you in. This doesn't feel like, oh my God, Norman Powell just caught fire and you couldn't stop him. No, this wasn't that. This was self-inflicted wounds across the board. Okay. Troy Knight saying, I can't blame Darko. All of the last plays should have gone in. They were all good luck. Jakob should have finished that. I mean, bro, what are we talking about? First of all, I'm confused that Jakob Poeltl was even on the court. With free throws on the line, why is Jakob Poeltl on the court? You want offensive rebounds? Cool. I mean, there must be a better free throw shooter than Jakob Poeltl to put on the court. I mean, obviously we're going to foul him. And why is he catching the basketball? That to me was the confusing part. I mean, if you want to say that they diagrammed Jakob Poeltl trying to miss a free throw and get his own rebound and putting it back in, if you think that that was the play and that's some genius move by Darko Rajakovic, I simply disagree. Yes, RJ Barrett, airball, Immanuel Quickley, trying to bait a foul, airball. Like we're gonna look at all these plays, man, because it deserves an examination. Let's take a look at the team stats because sometimes, you get bogged down. But hey, the Toronto Raptors, I don't even have to look at this. I guarantee you the Raptors did not hit 30 assists. Did they? No, they got to 26. This is a team that leads the league in assists, and when they win, they pass the ball a lot more. Tonight, I think the basketball stuck a little bit too much. In the first half, I felt Davion and Chris Boucher were very disruptive to the offense. RJ Barrett had moments where he got downhill and it was good. Then he took a mid-range shot, which I was like, shit, I thought we weeded this out of your diet, man. In terms of the free throw line, the Raptors started out getting to the line. I was like, man, are we going to get retribution for every single time we've been jobbed by the refs? Nope. It balances out at the end. 12 for 21 from the free throw line. You want a story of the game? That's the story of the game. You think I'm kidding? But, self-inflicted wounds. These are self-inflicted wounds. Even take off the one that you missed on purpose. That's still 60% from the line. You cannot be shooting 60% from the line. A free throw is supposed to be like one of the most efficient shots in the NBA. Teams regularly shoot north of 75, 78, 80. We are just it's tough. It's tough. It's a tough building to play in. I'll give you that. Absolutely. In terms of steals, blocks, I mean, it's relatively even. Turnovers, the Raptors win the turnover margin, right? They win the turnover margin. They win the points conceded off the turnovers margin, right? They win the points in the paint battle, which is, a pretty regular occurrence. The largest lead was 2. The Clippers led by as many as 14, man. And, you fought back. You fought back with Bruno Fernando and Chris Boucher on the court. I mean, yeah, like make that make sense. And I've been talking a lot of shit about Bruno Fernando, but like tonight, he played his butt off, man. He made like a couple of mistakes, sure, but it was tough. It was really tough. Okay, let's take a look and pull this off. We have one caller in line. I'm gonna Lane, hang tight for a sec. I realize that it is extremely late, but just bear with me. I need to break down the film, man. Okay. Also, I have some news. Dwyane Wade responded to me, and he was not happy. So I want to share that with you guys too, because it's kind of funny when you get a Hall of Famer to troll you. We will definitely look at that after. These are some clips from the earlier game, the G League game that we broke down. Definitely go check that live out if you missed the G League game. Okay. This was just me trying to say something nice about Davion Mitchell, I think. But ultimately, yeah, like this is just him getting lost on the screen. And this is Harden trying to bait. Like, do you see how Harden shoots? I guess I wanted to demonstrate A, how Davion gets lost, and B, how Harden shoots. Y'all see this? Okay, cool. Okay. Again, on a laptop, this is a hard thing, but look at how he's trying to toss himself. Like this should be a flop, okay? And he gets away with this every night. And frankly, he's taught Norman Powell, my dear Norm, who I was sort of rooting for tonight, but also rooting against. It was like really bittersweet. I've been really excited to see his ascension. Look at this beautiful play by Ochai Agbaji. I had to highlight this because it's just like, man, every game this guy shows something new, and this was something new. Look at that. Now, Norman is nobody's idea of a good defender, but he contests. Is a good contest, but man, decent defense, better offense. It's really cool. All right. Now, Grady Dick. Look at that play right there. Hits it once, hits it twice. I love it, man. Take a look. So, number 1, and then number 2, the presence of mind and the hand-eye coordination to knock this off of Nicholas Batum. Awesome. And now look at the offense, man. Like, it's so quick. Everything with Grady is so quick. The decision making is just so quick. It's like 1, boom, defender off his feet. That's KPJ, and boom. He's ripping through and just putting it over everybody. It's so impressive that he is able to do this. Troy Knight saying, people saying RJ better than Scottie. He didn't even pass Norm talks. I mean, let's not and they're both on the same team. Like, let's not do that. RJ had a tough game. He's been having a string of really tough games. But yes, I am blissfully aware that there are some people that still think that. And you know what? It doesn't really matter. They're still going to think that. They're going to continue to think that. So you're not going to edge them off their perspective with one game or 2 games. RJ still does some good things, and he had some good moments. This was not one of them, though. Speaking of RJ, this is RJ Barrett just getting stripped, and you know what? Call it out. Because if Scottie Barnes did this, I'm gonna just be honest. If Scottie Barnes turned the ball over like this, and had this reaction to it, I don't think y'all would forgive it. So keep it consistent. There are some super chats. I'm going to get to them right after the film breakdown. If you have something to add, if you want to call in, you can call in. We have 332 people here. Clearly, Sunday morning. We're going to break this game down, man. If it's the last thing I do tonight, I'm breaking this game down. All right. So this is a really tough turnover from RJ, but Okay, he feels like he got fouled. Cool, right? But okay, this is Jakob Poeltl knocking out Norman Powell. And by the way, if you thought that was all like brotherly love, guess what? He literally blocked him at the rim like the next play. So nothing intentional, but man, these screens are hard. Just in case you missed it, this is what the national anthem looked like. That's crazy. Look at that. Like it is just so intimidating. Like how much this building like just changes your perception of everything. Like it's 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 just like you get used to playing a certain way as a basketball player, right? Hey. Now, what am I pointing to here? Let me know when you see it. Okay, I'm going to play this play out and you tell me when you see it. Let's see how smart y'all are. Just tell me when you see it. Johnny A saying Clips played a back-to-back too. Yes, they did. Let them know. Y'all tell me, when do you see it? Someone saying yak. Hell no, it's not yak. Tell me when you see it. Thank you. Good God. Look at how wide open he is, and nobody cares. He is literally like, yo, look at me. Look at me. I'm wide open. Y'all see me? Y'all see me? Y'all see me? It's like, bro, we see you. Do you see me? Oh, Chai. Pass the ball. I'm Carlton Banks. Pass me the ball. Nope. Nobody cares. Literally nobody cares. Was it a miscommunication? Sure. You think Ty Lue gives a shit about it? No. And literally follows it up the next play. What are we doing here? Like, who do you think you're playing up against? I told y'all he's doing this. He's doing this against Domantas Sabonis, who's not a rim protector. You're not going to do this against Nicholas Batum. That's Batum. Batum is 185 years old, and he blocked this. Bro, like, I was really hoping for another positive game from Davion, but this game was about as bad as it gets, man. Please don't compare him to Schroeder. That was not a Schroeder type play, bro. Okay. All right. Grady, Ochai, the best part of the Raptors right now, man. I am going to completely be level with you. Every single time Grady Dick or Ochai Baji have the ball, like, I'm happy. Like, they have been incredible. What the hell? Yak? What the hell is this, man? Help me help you. How the hell? Okay, what happens here? But he puts the ball down. It comes up. Bro, that's gravity, man. Why are you acting like you haven't played basketball before? I cannot believe this. This is the kind of shit that, like a child would do in like rec league when they're 4 years old. Like, I don't think I've ever seen a professional basketball player do that. I mean, I don't think I've seen a professional basketball player do that 150 times. He's done it a lot this season, man. His hand-eye coordination needs to be studied because he has thrown some incredibly dumb passes. It's like crazy passes. He threw one to IQ. I didn't clip it, but he's throwing it like right at his feet. It's a turnover, and he's looking at Immanual Quickley like, bro, what? And Immanual Quickley's like, what are you doing? Like, I agree. Like, the regression is crazy, and like I'm concerned. I'm concerned. That's a pretty long contract. And I am concerned because there's like 3 more years on that contract and it is not good. This was awesome. So great defense by RJ Barrett. Let's give him some flowers. Good defense, active hands. Bad pass, James Harden, but better defense. And look at this pass. You want a saving grace for this season? RJ Barrett's playmaking is legit. He is much better this year. And this is a really, really nifty pass, right? Like, this is some court mapping shit. Like, he sees how to get this. I'm telling you, there's like 3 players on your team that can throw this pass. He's one of them. That's awesome. I didn't think he could do this earlier in the season, or coming into the season. So I am very impressed with RJ Barrett on that play. That was awesome. Again, okay. Now, this is about as like help me. That's James Harden. Now, I want you to know that James Harden has his hands down. Okay? That's James Harden who's no one's definition of an all-league defender, and he has his hands down. So how you do this, which feels like there's like 5 layups tonight where the Raptors did not connect with the rim. Like, bro, what? This is crazy. This is nuts. Okay. Hey, RJ Barrett, what the hell is this? I mean, did they get away with a bit of a little grab there? Sure. That pass was still hella off target. Like, look at the trajectory of it. Like, it's a lob. I don't know what the hell that was, man. But that's tough because right there, you're trying to mount a comeback. You're 66. Here's my point guard, Immanuel Quickley with the splash. This took cojones, man. He was not having the greatest night shooting, but he just keeps trusting his work. And bro, if he can do this, and I mean, yes, he missed a couple at the rim, but he's getting to the rim better. And when you put him in that floater range stuff, he's like much better. Okay, Jakob. Oh goodness. First of all, is that a travel? It's just like his brain just like went into discombobulation. What the hell was it? That was a travel. That was a travel, right? I mean, hold on. I'm going to slow this down and we can count his steps. So he travels. Okay, no dribbles. Okay. One dribble. 1, 2, 3, 4. What the hell? You haven't even seen the worst part of this play yet. That's the worst part of this play. Like, you know, what did Darko Rajakovic say? God help you. That's one of those things that makes you really just want to pray on things, man. Okay. Now watch the transition defense, because transition defense was a really, really big problem tonight. So first of all, appreciate the follow through, Jamison Battle, but get back on defense, right? Now he is going to be one guy who's going to get back on defense, but RJ Barrett, Jakob Poeltl, and Chris Boucher are going to be really slow. And Nicholas Batum, who is previously mentioned 180 years old, is going to outsprint these dudes. And if you think it's going to become consequential, it's because Jamison Battle does his job. Chris Boucher doesn't get back to have to do his. These are the types of plays that break your back. Okay. This is just, it's abysmal. It's horrible. And, you know, it needs to stop. Okay. Ochai Agbaji continues, right? Now, this was a play where Ochai misses the 3. There's a long shot, long rebound. Davion Mitchell, great rebound over Norman Powell, passes it right back to Och, and Ochai Agbaji, without a single thought, throws it up. Love it. And he was 3 for 6 for night. Awesome. Scottie Barnes, eye healing up a little bit. Is that a Canada sweater? I can't tell. Is that a Canada sweater? Y'all let me know. Love it, man. Representing proud. Get back soon. We really need you. Okay. Now, this is awesome. This is some Bruno Fernando defense and some quick outlet to Ochai Agbaji. And you thought maybe Ochai would get a little cute with this and just pass it to Grady, return the favor. Grady's been getting him a lot of passes. But Ochai's like, nope, I'm Skywalker. No, I'm Skywalker. I do this myself. I do this in my sleep. I'm Michael Jordan. Ochai, Air, Jordan. Oh, no. Hey, Ochai, Air, Agbaji. Love it. Is that sacrilege? Is that crazy? Should I shut the hell up? Okay. All right. Bruno Fernando off a broken play from Immanuel Quickley. This was very interesting. This is scramble, mad scramble. And Immanuel Quickley has 7 seconds to make something happen here. He passes. Nice pass. Somehow gets it through. Norman Powell gambles, misses the gamble. Bruno Fernando dunks. The Raptors were beasts on the offensive glass early on in this game. Did not love the defense tonight, but This caught my eye because it was about 2 minutes to go in the fourth, and RJ Barrett was on the court, and it felt like a glaring omission, right? You understood why Bruno Fernando was on the court. You understood why Chris Boucher was on the court, but the idea that it was Immanuel Quickley plus Ochai Abashi plus Grady Dick and your closer and the guy who you've been giving all these 3-point opportunities to, this guy wasn't on the court. It felt a little weird. And I couldn't help but notice that every single person was up. Bruce Brown's up, Scottie's up, Shed's up, Jacoby's up, Davion's up, all the injured guys are up. But I couldn't help but notice RJ Barrett was sitting down, and he did not look too pleased. He might have been talking to himself. He could have been resting. No idea. But it did not look good. It is worth noting that RJ Barrett did eventually check into the game with 45 seconds to go, but that was largely as a trigger man, not as a closer. And here, again, transition defense bites you in the ass. This time, okay, I lied. Ochai did not have a perfect game. Here, this was Ochai's man. He loses him in the corner. You got to space out to the corners, and boom, not great. Norman Powell hits that three, and here you go. I mean, you had plenty of chances, man. And here you go. You are tied up. Tied up. Look at this. Immanuel Quickley, good screen by Bruno Fernando. And look at Scottie in the background. He's like, yes. Scottie can't wait. It's so funny because Scottie's the only guy like wearing red and everyone else is wearing purple. So he's really sticking out on your television, right? He's so excited. He's so happy. Oh boy. The internet is not going to be kind about that one. But love it. He was just so happy for his team, man. So close, yet so tough. Yep. Immanuel Quickley goes downhill, tries to get, does he draw a little bit of contact? I would say you can't leave that up to the refs. At that point, you just got to finish. You cannot be leaving that up to the refs. So it is unfortunate. And this time you get RJ Barrett kind of calling his number here, going up against Terrence Mann, number 14, and I believe that's Terrence Mann, and not touching rim. And that was tough. Tough. All right. I'm going to let y'all hear this. This was funny. Okay. A little bit of Chris Bosh slander.
Wait. Pin. Hold on. Pin.
Hold on. He isn't.
Relax.
Yes,
Relax.
Yes,
hold on.
is.
Pin. Just relax for a second.
No way.
This is the issue right here. Because there's actually people. See, I didn't think that you were in this category. There's actually people that don't know enough ball that they really think that Anthony Davis is closer to Nick Claxton than Anthony Davis. And I'm trying to explain that to these kids. Then you interrupted me because you think I want to argue with you. Did nobody wake up to argue with you? I came here to talk basketball, and I need to explain to these children in the chat that Chris Bosh was. Bro. Nick Claxton ain't tied Chris Bosh practice kicks.
He is not close to
comparison.
Nick Claxton.
We're talking basketball. We're trying to let these children in the chat that don't know
Why are you
no
calling
better.
them children? How do you know they're children?
Because only a child would think that.
Or maybe they're Raptor fans who watched them for 7 years and can probably school you on Chris Bosh.
Only a child that didn't watch basketball.
I thought that was the end of it, but it wasn't. Here's the response.
This generation said that Chris Bosh is closer to Nick Claxton than he is to Anthony Davis. Did y'all see that?
Our team was great, and we won a series without him. We can win a game without him, a series without him, but we were not winning the championship without Chris Bosh. His versatility, bro, his ability to be able to be the number 1 option, 2 or 3 option on any given night. And depending on who's saying it, he's either in the top 5 or right on the edge of it in his position to ever play this game.
I stand by what I said. There ain't no discussion between Chris Bosh and Anthony Davis. Get a reality check. All right, Lane, what's going on, man?
OH.
IO. Okay. What am I not hearing here? I'm
Something
hearing
up
you
on my end.
from my laptop speaker. Hang on. Oh, I know why. Hang on one sec. Give me 1 second. I'm going to step out and step back in. Y'all be patient. Lane is an awesome caller. Give me 1 sec. I'll be right back.
Yeah, the top 5 take was absolutely insane. If Bosch is top 5, I might be a top 100 point guard of all time. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay. We are back, and now I should be able to hear you in the headphones.
Can you hear me? We good? Perfect.
Okay. What'd you think of the game?
I gotta preference my thoughts real quick. So, I am in no way complaining, right, about this season so far. It has been fun to watch, and especially if you're a pro tank, it has been fun to watch because it is competitive losing, right? I think Darko's done a great job developing these guys. I'm not calling for his job, so I don't want that to be thought. I just want to see development from Darko as a in-game coach. I feel like there were so many times today where he let stuff slip. One that wasn't mentioned, or maybe you mentioned it before I got in here, was when Boucher took the charge and he didn't challenge it and instead saved the timeout instead. I mean, just some of the decisions, and it's like, I get it. He's a young coach. He's a first-time head coach. You just want to see growth out of him. And I feel like we're seeing growth in everything except for in Darko as an in-game coach. And it's kind of frustrating at times.
Okay. Bring me back to the decision that you were criticizing right there. What decision was that again?
He didn't challenge it when it would have easily. I mean, even the Clippers announcers, because I was watching it on NBA TV, and even Jim Jackson is like, if the Raptors challenge that, that's getting overturned, and that's going to be an offensive foul on Norman Powell. And Jim Jackson was like, "Wow, I cannot believe he just didn't challenge that right there." And then his I forget who the other guy is, but the play-by-play guy was like, "Well, he only has one timeout left." And Jim Jackson's like, "Yeah, but there's like 2 minutes left in this game, and instead you're going to send Norman Powell to the line for 2 free throws instead."
I am not sure. Like, charge block is always a little bit subjective. You can really stress the details of like, okay, this guy was a little bit moving, this guy whatever, and that just to me feels like really tough, right?
It does, but with
So
two
if it
left, I
does
mean,
if it doesn't get overturned, then suddenly we're like, why did the idiot burn the timeout? You know, so I don't know. Then you don't have timeouts. It's a tough call. Also, I think it's worth noting that a lot of coaches really do rely on their bench to make that decision.
no, for sure. But sometimes, I mean, you have to, I feel like when you trust your guys all the time, and then the one time you don't trust your guys when they, they're waving their finger in the air in a circle, like the one time you don't trust them, it probably is with 2 minutes left. Instead, you save your challenge the whole game. Like, this isn't the first time this has happened this season. Like, there's been 2 or 3 times where I'm like, man, he could have challenged that, and then he went the whole game without using a challenge. And then, as you mentioned, like bringing York in, with 10 seconds left, like that was crazy too. And in no way, shape, or form am I saying he's not qualified to be a coach. He's not the right coach for this team, because he is. I just want to see growth out of him. Because as a coach myself, right, like I understand not every decision you make, even if it's the right decision, is going to work out. But you at least want to see the right decisions made, so then it's all up to the players. And I feel like the right decisions right now are not being necessarily made. You know what I mean? Because it's like you could have the right play in mind. You drop the perfect play and the player missed the shot, right? You could have the right personnel out there and it not go as planned, but at least you have the right personnel out there. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. Yeah, I think some of the lineups were questionable. I think some of the lineups have been questionable. I think the Immanuel Quickley, Jamal Shed, and was it Chris Boucher lineup? That was a
Yeah.
little bit questionable. I think, okay, so here's the thing. You're not healthy right now. I don't know what you want this guy to do. This wasn't a
No,
super deep team to begin
I'm not
with, right?
complaining about that.
So again,
I'm willing to
like
try lineups.
no,
I'm willing to try
absolutely. But
lineups.
I mean, there's so many holes on this roster, right? And it's not like he didn't put this roster together. So I think it's worth saying that, he probably should consider less minutes for Davion, but we don't know why Davion's playing as many minutes as he is. He probably should consider less shots for Davion, but we don't know why Davion's shooting as much as he is. And, you know, sometimes last year I was like, why is Ochai shooting so much? If he's not making them, why is he shooting so much? And now you see why he was shooting so much. So it's almost like, okay, well, if everyone turns out as good as Ochai, I guess I trust it. It's a, you know,
Yeah,
it's fair criticism though.
and I
I
get
mean,
you.
Jakob Pertl being on the court, I called it out when Norman Powell goes out of bounds, dives out of bounds, and
Mhm.
we call a timeout, and we have a 5-on-4 transition, and probably looking to score in that case. I don't necessarily agree with how he's evaluated some of his players. Like specifically, I'm not really sure. Like I heard, I think if I'm not mistaken, and I don't want to misquote him, there was a clip of him talking about Grady taking fewer mid range shots, and I was just like, I don't agree with that. I want Grady taking more mid range shots. I love this part of his game. So there's small things where I'm like philosophically, I just disagree. But overall, like you can't disagree with the development of most of these players.
No, and it's been beautiful. It's been beautiful. I just want to see more development from him as an in-game coach eventually. And like I said, I'm no way, shape, or form saying that he's not the right coach for this team. He should be fired. You know, if we tank this year and then we start next year bad, he needs to be out of a job, right? That's no way, shape, or form what I'm saying. I'm just saying I want to see him. And I'm also not complaining about the lineups that he puts out there, right? In like the second, third quarter, I'm not complaining about who's taking shots.
Okay, if you could take, let's take the not taking the challenge off the table. What
Mhm.
else did you have an issue with tonight?
Like you said, the transition, 5-on-4, calling a timeout, Jakob being in with 10 seconds left. Um, I mean, that's pretty much it. Because at the end of the day, like as a coach, you put your guys out there to trust them. These are NBA players at the end of the day. You know, they missed a shot, they missed a shot, right? It is what it is. You're trying stuff out. It's just the controllables or the things that can be controllables. I feel like he's kind of letting slip a little bit.
There's this comment here, Sweetness, saying Darko is not supporting his players. He should argue with the refs time to time with the no calls against the Raptors. We don't get to the line when we should. First of all, he does argue. Second of all, I don't want Nick Nurse part two. I just
Yeah,
really don't. I
yeah,
really don't, because players do feed off of that. Gone with the super
100%.
chat. Is there a reason to give it to Yak with 5 seconds left? And when the other team knows it's a terrible free throw shooter, tanking or coach brain fart? Honestly, probably both. If you're being honest, like they're trusting him to make free throws. He made the one that counted and he missed the one that counted. He did a great job. I mean, you can't really argue with the results. You can, of course, argue with the idea that a career bad free throw shooter is the guy that you put on the court, but
Mhm.
ultimately you had enough time to take a shot and get a tip in, and that's
Yep,
pretty much what happened, right? The Raptors
yep.
got a tip in attempt. He was on the court. He's the one who missed the free throw on purpose. He's the one who got the tip in. He's the one who missed it. I don't know what's going on with Yak. It hasn't been great so far.
Nope.
Liam saying, I feel like Davion is always walking with the ball. Well, did you see what happens when he runs with the ball? Like, my God. Okay. Like, I'm not really sure.
He had one good play in transition where he split the defense. That's about it.
He did not slip he okay, I remember that play vividly, and it was like the obvious pass was to Grady. I remember it. There
Yeah,
was an obvious pass to Grady, he missed it, and then he went ahead of the defense, and I think the defense was almost like, he's not passing to Grady, and then he just went up. He turned the Jets on.
I
He's
think they
pretty
both.
fast.
Yeah, I think that both defenders gambled for the steal, and it was just miscommunication because there's nobody to kind of fall back to the rim, so they both went for the steal, and he quote unquote split them, and then it was like, oh crap, he's kind of just at the rim at this point.
Mm, yeah. No, man, like, I think, a lot of people,
And like I said, I'm no way, shape, or form calling for his head. I'm no way, shape, or form blaming this is on him, right? I'm just saying, like, I get it. Like
I mean,
he's
he
getting
went with a hot
more
hand.
better.
I think that's
Yeah,
something that I've, like sometimes it's easy to complain when you lose, especially when you've lost as much as the Raptors have lost. The Raptors fall to 2-8 after this game. It's tough, and again, you play hard. You're probably, heading for another loss, and then you have Tuesday, another game without Scottie Barnes, another game without Jacoby, another game without Bruce, another game without Kelly, and you're probably, going to face a really desperate team. So like this could turn into 2-11 really quickly, and then people start to tune out because they're like, "What the fuck am I watching?" But you wouldn't know it, but this game was really entertaining to watch. I
oh
mean, it
for
was
sure.
thoroughly entertaining. It was very
And
much a nail biter.
the development's been great. The development's been great. To watch him on the sideline coach guys up mid game, that's awesome. That's not something that every
Hmm.
NBA coach does,
Right.
right? I
Well, I mean, here's the thing. I want to be consistent, right? It drove me crazy when Nick Nurse would talk about, a certain guy getting benched, like Delano Banton can't get on the court because he's not playing defense. if he wants to play defense. With Gary Trent, it was like, well, if he's going to do this, then he suits us. And if he doesn't do this, then he doesn't suit us. All these quotes are like tattooed on my brain. And I just hated the double standard that Nick Nurse exhibited towards his players, where I feel like Darko is really interesting in the sense that, like, Ochai Agbaji may not have been a staple of his rotation, especially of his closing lineup to start the season. But you, me, every Raptor fan, and every player on this team can right now confirm that he has etched himself in the permanent rotation. If he goes out of the rotation, I riot. Okay? Like I will riot if that guy is out of the rotation. Like, I will friggin' freak out. Okay? Like, I will create the fire Darko petition if he falls out of the lineup. So my point is, that wasn't the case to start the season.
Mm-hmm.
And we can see that hard work and good play is being rewarded. Chris Boucher has a really bad game. Last game, Davion Mitchell had a great game. So today he got a little bit of extended run. Now I expect maybe Jamal Shed will get a little bit more run. Jamal Shed had a really bad game today. Really bad game. Poor spacing, bad defensive reads. He's had a couple of stinkers, actually. Jonathan Mobo. Tough.
It's a mixed bag.
It's a mixed bag. There was like a really good, defensive play. Then there's the really boneheaded foul on James Harden. So it's like a lot of like mixed bag, with Jonathan Mobo. So, I mean, you're holding players accountable. And look, Bruno Fernando was in his doghouse. He started out the season. He was the backup center. And then he gave him a stint. It didn't work. Gave him another stint. Didn't work. Now you sit. Then you get a DMPCD. Gave him another stint. 3 minutes. Didn't work. Tried him out to begin the fourth quarter. And I'm like, are we tanking? What are we doing here? Bruno Fernando already? It's Bruno Fernando time? We're pulling the plug this early? But no, he was just trying something. And what do you know? Bruno Fernando played really well.
What you got to do as a coach. Like that's what I said. That's what you got to do as a coach sometimes. You just got to try shit out for the hell of it. And that's why I don't blame him.
But Nick Nurse never did this.
No,
hell or high water, Pascal and Fred and OG were closing damn games.
Yep.
And he wasn't ever going to bench his stars. And it didn't matter how ass Fred played on defense. He was never going to bench him for Delano Banton, even if Jeff was having a better game. Then what message are you sending? What message are you sending to your locker room? Right now, it is very consistent what message you are sending. RJ Barrett, Jakob Poeltl, play better or you will sit on the bench. I love that. I love that about him. So again, good and bad. Didn't love some of the rotations. I didn't like the rotations tonight. I thought some of them were completely flawed, but loved the development. Didn't love him not challenging the timeout and him calling an awkward timeout. And, but I like some of the set plays. Some of the set plays have been really smart. I like the flow of the offense. I like the fact that they pass the ball a lot. I like the fact that they talked about defense. They talked about MIG. They talked about pressure, and they do what they say they're going to do. I like that. I like the fact that this team's playing hard for him. I like the fact that, they came out in the first quarter and they were competitive. Like, they didn't fall out of the game in the first quarter. Like, we remember like a few games ago, we were like falling out in every single first quarter. We couldn't catch back up. And, now we've pretty much had the same game play out like 6 different times. Yeah, we're in it. It didn't matter how we got in it, but it comes down to 3-4 possessions at the end, and they have talent that you don't have. Their talent makes shots. Your talent doesn't make shots. Tonight, their talent didn't make shots. Your talent still couldn't touch rim on a layup. So it is what it is. But, again, I love this idea. If I were a coach, you're a coach. I'm not a coach. I've never coached. But if I were a coach, I would love to be the type of coach that had the balls to bench my star player when he was playing like ass.
Yep. I did that this past summer.
How did it go?
He hit a grand slam his next at bat, the walk off a game. It was absolutely beautiful. He made 2 boneheaded errors, put us behind. We benched his ass, and then his spot in the lineup came back up with benches loaded, and he was the best guy, to hit in that spot. We put him back in. He hit a grand slam to walk it off. I have it on video. I have the stats to prove it because we do game changers, so we have play-by-play. Like, we legit did that. I could show it to you if you think I'm lying. Like, we dead ass did that. It works. I'm telling you, it works, and it holds everybody accountable. Nobody's above the law. That kid, I mean, he'd be playing D1 baseball right now if he was 4 inches taller. It sucks that he's only 5'8", but
absolutely,
hell of a player.
Absolutely. And you know what? If anyone is wondering if I'll keep the same energy if he benches Scottie Barnes, my only question will be, did he deserve it? That's it. That's all I care about. You can get into the politics of the NBA later on when you're coaching like superstars for championships. and veterans, maybe then there will be politics. I hope there aren't, though. I hope that it's always about team. And frankly, none of these players are above the law. None of these players who are playing right now are superstars. None of them have made an all-star team. Is there a single all-star on this team? Yak's never made an all-star team. No one on this team has ever made an all-star team. Am I wrong?
Other than
No.
Scottie.
Scottie is the only one.
Yeah.
But like anyone else, there's no all-stars here.
No, there's no
Like
all-star.
it's just a bunch of role players, right? It's
Yeah.
a bunch of young players and role players, and that's cool. You know, Bobby Webster described this as a college campus, so they're coaching it like it's a college team. Cool. You know?
Yeah, and just going back to, I don't know if I necessarily even am like mad at him for rotations. Like mad's not the right word, but I'm not like upset at the rotations because we're down so many guys. And as a coach, like you said, you're just throwing the kitchen sink at it sometimes. You know, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I think my biggest gripe is like when push comes to shove, when things, you know, really matter, when, you know, you can tighten up and carry the boats. I feel like the boats aren't being carried necessarily sometimes. And it's like, I get it. Like, you're a great dude. You're doing great things. The development's beautiful. I just want to see him develop a little bit more as an in-game coach. Like, in-game, not out-of-game.
You've said it like 12 times. We get
I
it.
know. I know.
Yeah, like
I'm just trying to
it
push
seems to
home.
really bother you.
Yeah, I'm just trying to like push home. I'm not criticizing him, you know, completely or saying I want his job, you know, or anything like that. It's just
You're woefully underqualified to have this job.
no. I don't mean me have his job. I mean like have his job taken from him. Like
I get it, man. Like no. The you don't need to qualify it this many times. I completely understand. Like you understand the process, but you want to see him, you know, improve his process internally, and I'm sure he will. You know, what I like about him, and what I have always liked about him, is he's open to feedback. What I don't like is that he doesn't like mid-range shots. Like that's kind of like my gripe with him, and this like, comes down to Scottie, Grady, all of it. He just kind of like discouraging mid-range shots, and I'm like, no, mid-range is good. Take them.
Analytics, man. It's the analytics.
No, I like mid-range shots, especially for good mid-range shooters. I don't like mid-range shots for like bad mid-range shooters, but like guys who shoot above 50%, like you can take them, right?
I mean, I think I would let every starter other than Jakob and RJ on this team take mid-range shots. I think those are the only two I would be like, yeah.
Oh, yeah. It makes you way more dynamic, and teams are giving you that spot. Like, why would you not take an open shot? Like, it's basically a free throw, but it's worth 2 points. Like, take it, you know? And it makes it a lot less unpredictable. It's different, though, when you're taking shots early in the clock or whatever. I do appreciate, like, how much he has on his plate, though. You know, every single time somebody goes to the bench, he's still coaching them. You know, they go to the bench. He's like, da 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 da. This is what's wrong. This rotation.
So rare.
It is super rare.
You don't see
right?
anybody do that. I've seen 3 coaches do that this year,
Mhm.
other than Darko, and that's it. And I've watched all 30 teams. I've seen 3. No, I haven't watched every game.
Who are the coaches? Is it Jordy Fernandez?
Yeah,
and
Jordan
Keefe
and Kenny Atkinson.
Oh, interesting. Kenny Atkinson. Yeah, I could see him doing that.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
Kenny's been really good for the Cavs. So
he has been great. And yeah, and they're playing incredible basketball.
I know I get to go watch them in a week and a half. I'm excited. So when they play Raptors, yeah, I'm gonna go watch. Hopefully Scottie's back by then. But
a week and a half, he will not be back.
The 24th of November. Might be.
I think he's targeting 24th, 25th return, so he might be. But that's going to be a really tough game to come back to.
I know. Fingers crossed, though.
Yeah, much better. Pardon?
I said I'm not paying $68 for nothing. Shoot.
Well, joke's on you. You could have gone to Milwaukee and paid $7.
I saw that. It's crazy how cheap stuff is up there right now.
Why?
No one wants to go. It's more expensive to go to Marquette games than it is to go to
Bucks games.
Yeah,
but like Damian Lillard and Giannis Antetokounmpo, that's not box office.
It's not a selling point for them. Like they're pissed. They're mad up there. Like they don't even sell out.
What a terrible, terrible city. So ungrateful. You know, if Giannis and Dame were in Toronto, MLSE would be charging you like a mortgage to go to the games. I promise you that. Like I will promise you that.
I mean, we'd also not. I don't know. I feel like we'd be able to. I mean, shoot, I trust Masai to build a team around them better than what the hell they've got up there. It's so sad. Gary Trent Jr. was their big offseason signing, and now they're complaining about him. And you know,
hey, respect DeLon Wright. Respectalon, right, man.
True. And now you got Giannis in the locker room going, if you don't want to be here, you can leave. And I don't know if that was to a reporter or if that was to a player or to who, but like, damn, that's crazy. I don't know if you saw that clip or not.
Mm-mm.
No, you didn't see that? Yeah, no, he's giving interview and like he looks up and he's staring at somebody and he's like, yeah, if you don't want to be here, you can effing leave. And I was like, oh, okay.
Losing is hard. It's
It is.
interesting. Like the Raptors are showing me something. So again, we're talking about negatives with Darko. Here's another positive with Darko. This team is like the vibiest 2-9 team in the history of the NBA.
It's the
Or
best
2-8, whatever.
It's the best. We could have a playoff of all the 2-9 teams in the history of the NBA, and we might win.
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, it is definitely comedic how they've managed to lose some of these games. And obviously, when you start winning games, it's going to matter that you were in these games that you lost, even though for the record and for the tank, it doesn't matter. But yes, this is, did you catch the G League game earlier today?
I did not, but I watched some highlights.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited
yeah.
for Battle to get down there. I'm excited for Shed to get down there a little bit because I think that's Battle's issue right now. He's just not hitting shots and he's not seeing shots go in. But he's still doing the little things, which I appreciate. But like it's the NBA. If you're not hitting your wide open shots, then you're not going to stick around for long. So I want to see him get down to the G League, make some shots down there. Same thing with Shed. I think once Shed starts, because when the season first started, he was getting to the rim so easy. And could it be defenses adjusting? Yes, but also like how high is Shed on your defensive game plan? Probably not very high. So I just want to see him get down to the G League, get to the rim a little bit more, get his confidence back. I think it's going to be very, very huge for those guys. I think
playing this many non-shooters at a time now, I really thought that Immanuel Quickley's return would limit some of those lineups with non-shooters. Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the only one that doesn't touch the 905 though is Mobo.
No, I think Mobo could use some time in the 905.
You think he'll touch the 905 over being on the Raptors? Like not when the Raptors are not playing, but like us sending him on an assignment and missing a regular season game.
I mean, the goal is development. If the goal is development, you get Jonathan Mobo down there, you get him comfortable with the spacing of professional athletes, right? Right now, everything just feels a little bit fast, and he just doesn't have gaps. He doesn't know how to go up with his shot. It's a really weird thing to watch, but you can see it. Like you saw this with Draymond early on too, right? You're a little bit undersized. You're used to being oversized. It's an adjustment, right? Jonathan Mobo has not gone up against 7-footers like Ivica Zubac in the WCC. You're not seeing a single Ivica Zubac ever, right?
I don't know. Gonzaga had a few.
A 7-footer who's this strong that when you bump them, they don't come back. They have like Brennan Carlson types, right? Like a 7-footer with some length and some size. They don't have a brick wall like Jonas Valanciunas in there. It's like there's a level to professional athletes, right? Even like some of the guards that are hitting him, and he's going into guys and they're not moving, and it's like that's weird. When you're an athlete and you have trained yourself and you've done the same repetition over and over for years. And when you bump, they go back, and now you bump and they stand still. It's weird. And you just have to find new ways to get your angles. One of the most interesting observations from today's game was the reporters, you watched their feed. I watched our feed, and they were talking about Grady film study, which is really interesting. He was earlier in the game, prior to the game, Darko Rajakovic said, like now RJ and Grady are on the scouting report, and this is a really good thing. And I was like, yeah, that is a good thing. When you play this well, you do end up rising to people's, you rise up the scouting report. And Grady was talking about like how to be a better defender, he's actually doing more film work. So he's like scouting each opponent and can't be doing random shit against, I think that was the quote, like you can't be doing random shit against everybody. Like you need to scout your opponent. So he's probably like really dissecting like Norman Powell tape and James Harden film. And he says like, Ivo Simovic almost seems like Grady's personal coach at this point, which is really hilarious that they've just assigned him to him. And I just hope that, as much as they are pouring into Grady, I hope they're pouring also into, Ochai and Scottie and IQ. Like, I hope they're like we're hearing a lot about it with Grady. I just hope that the other guys are doing it too, because this is so important for young kids to become obsessed with like the process of breaking down film. And the fact that he's doing this at 20 is so encouraging.
Yep.
So encouraging.
It's culture, man. It's culture. It's contagious too, especially and even for the older guys. Like it's like, damn, this second year guy's doing it. I could do it too. You know, it takes some pride. I mean, you're gonna be able to tell like between now and like game 50, you're gonna be able to tell who's putting in the work and who's not, because the cream's gonna rise to the top, and the guys who haven't been putting in the work, the guys who haven't been getting better, are just gonna keep getting worse and worse and worse and worse and falling off. Like I know RJ's kind of hit a wall right now, but I'm hoping he doesn't keep pushing, because I feel like he's pressing a lot. Like he is pressing every time he's in the game right now. He's pressing, and sometimes he's successful, right? Sometimes it's like, oh, okay, that's RJ. You know, finding a little crack in the concrete and then just breaking through and one layup.
Yeah.
That's him. But other times it's like, oh my god, like dude, I get it. You're just pressing right now. It's not working for you. It's pressing. Someone needs to sit him down. I know Darko sat him down on the bench literally, but someone needs to sit him down and like let him know like it's okay. You're gonna get yours. You're going to get yours. Just play within the flow. Play within yourself. Because when you try to be something that you're not, which is a LeBron James, it's not gonna go well. That's what he's trying to be. Every time he goes to the rim, he's trying to go strong like LeBron. Like the spin move today, to try to tie up the game, literally looked like LeBron, like a LeBron spin move off his left hand, and it was like you're. I don't want to say you're not him, you know what I mean? Because you're a hell of a player, but like you're not him yet.
The reason that those same spin moves don't work for LeBron now is because LeBron is less of an explosive athlete and more of a below the rim athlete right now. Like I'm not saying LeBron's a below the rim athlete, like he's Draymond Green, but RJ Barrett was always, you know, it's interesting when you go back to like listening to what people were saying about RJ when he came out of high school, when he came out of Mount Vernon, the most accomplished, most decorated high school player since LeBron James and all that stuff, right? And you hear it, you get it, but he's not LeBron. He's smaller than LeBron, considerably smaller than LeBron. He's considerably less explosive, considerably less dexterous. He's considerably less athletic. He is considerably less quick, and he's considerably less strong. So basically, he has to find a package that works for DeMar, not LeBron. Yeah. And that's the problem. He plays a lot like LeBron. You are right. He tries to do a lot of LeBron stuff. And maybe it's because he grew up watching LeBron. Maybe it's because that's who he patterned himself after. He'd be much better off trying to pattern himself after a skills guy instead of a brute force guy like a Paul Pierce, you know, someone like that. Or again, a DeMar DeRozan. Because those are the guys who can like, again, DeMar was in theory a more explosive athlete in his younger days than RJ Barrett, but like RJ is probably closer to like a 28, 29-year-old LeBron, you know? Sorry, a 28, 29-year-old DeMar, or like a 30 to 31-year-old Paul Pierce. So I think that he should find ways to do that. That being said, he's had relative success, and who's to say all of these failures are not, you know, building up to something? Maybe it's so that he can see for himself that he can't do these things.
No,
right?
for sure. I think he just hit a wall. Everyone hits a wall eventually. I just hope he doesn't take it hard. You know what I mean? Like when you try to press through it, especially as an athlete, and you've played sports before, like when your shot's not falling, when things aren't going right for you, you know what I mean? You're getting blown by on defense. What happens? You try to be harder. You try to play harder defense, right? You try to go to the rim stronger, right? And whatever other sport.
I literally dribbled the ball off my foot with the game on the line.
Right. Like you just try to do too much. I think he's trying to do too much right now instead of just settling in. Like, so what if you only get 18 points? But if you get 18 points on 8 for 13 shooting, I'd rather you do that than you get 23 points, 24 points on 12 for 27 shooting. You know what I mean? Like when you press, it's just going to hurt you worse. And then you're going to spiral and keep spiraling. So I hope he just kind of settles down a little bit.
Here's the thing. So like literally a week ago, I'm not kidding. A week ago, we were talking about, I swear to God, like I trolled it a little bit, but there were legit posts like RJ Barrett next to Luka Doncic. RJ is outperforming Luka. Okay. And the problem with posts like that, now the reason I'm not really over hard on RJ today is because I wasn't really all that hyped about him to begin with. I didn't overhype him, so I don't have to destroy him right now. A lot of people did overhype him, so now they're like, wait, we were promised Michael Jordan, the second coming. We were promised a player better than Luka, and he didn't look like it today. He's throwing the ball away. This is the problem with overreacting to a really small sample. I'm reading the talent on this guy. I'm seeing how he's succeeding. I'm seeing the level of defensive players he's going up against. You have not seen RJ Barrett go up against a really great defense yet, but you will. You will when he goes up against Cleveland. You will when he goes up against possibly Golden State. You will when he goes up against a New York, when OG Anunoby has him in jail. You will when you see him go up against these tougher teams, and then you will see like how much this package actually translates up, right? And it just doesn't. There are limits to it. The reason I'm so optimistic about not Ochai is look at his athleticism.
Mhm.
He is such a fluid and like great athlete. Like Ochai, and plus he's a two-way athlete. Like he's got the lateral quickness too. He's got the vertical burst. He's got like incredible wingspan. Like Ochai really has a chance to be like a great role player in the NBA.
Yep.
But I don't see a star. I'm not stupid. I don't see a star in Ochai Agbaji. Like if he becomes one, holy crap. But like, you know what I mean? But like an
Right.
incredible role player is great. But it takes a lot to be a star in the NBA. Like you have to have like some really special traits. And no, barreling to the basket and getting to the line. Like Norman Powell has, in my opinion, vastly outplayed RJ Barrett this year. Like it's not close. Believe me, it's not close. The numbers aren't close. The analytics aren't close. It's a huge gap. Okay, I keep posting the thing with Norman versus Gary to show the difference between these two. I hope Raptor fans who were telling me small sample size saw Norman Powell tonight. Norman Powell's a hell of a talent. He's not a star.
And this was a bad game for him too, compared to what he's
Yes.
done this year.
Yes, but Norm has burst. Norm has, but Norm is also a recipient of great playmaking, great
so-
coaching,
He plays
great
so
system. Pardon?
I'm sorry. He plays so controlled, like so controlled. It feels like everything he does, he's like 2 steps ahead.
Absolutely. But like the best quarter of Malik Monk's career is better than the best quarter of RJ Barrett's career. And neither one of them are superstars.
Yep.
Right? So RJ is young. He can become much more than what he is if he buys in defensively and he continues to accelerate himself as a playmaker. Honestly, Malik's a great playmaker. RJ is becoming a really good playmaker. And that's awesome. I hope the shot finds him again soon. That's going to be awesome. And, when Scottie comes back, he will have an easier time because he won't be seeing this kind of defensive pressure. And Scottie can take that load off of him. And I also think Scottie can help him a lot defensively. But yeah, like to the fans who were like, oh, it's RJ's team now. Like, shut up. Like, just shut up about it. Like, it's not. And the Raptors don't think that. The league doesn't think that. But that's not supposed to be like that's not supposed to be a comment on what RJ is doing wrong. That's not why he's here. That's not why he's here. That's not why they traded for him. They traded him to rehab an asset.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. Like you bring up a good point. When Scottie comes back, RJ's gonna have an easier time. When Scottie comes back, I don't want to see Scottie and the bench anymore. I want to see RJ and the bench. I do not want to see Scottie leading a bench unit ever again. I want to see RJ leading the bench unit
You're going to be sorely disappointed.
I know I am. But it's something I want to see because I feel like RJ is a guy who can get his, right? Scottie needs, it's not that, and I don't want you to think I'm saying Scottie's helpless, but Scottie needs talent and shooters around him. You know what I mean? For him to
that's
be
exactly
really
exactly why you have to force him to grow with those lineups. I know it's going to look ugly, but you know what? You put him next to Davion, you put him next to Chris Boucher. That's what it's going to be, man. That's what it's going to look like. And put him with Bruno Fernando and basically say, okay, either lose by 20 points tonight or go cook yourself. Scottie has a long way to go. It's so interesting. Seeing him last year was a tale of two halves, right? You saw him next to a good creator like Pascal Siakam, and he thrived, right? He was still scoring more than Siakam. He was playing better than Siakam. The analytics liked him more than Siakam, but he wasn't alone. When Siakam was removed from the equation, suddenly you saw those numbers really start to crater. And that's probably a plethora of issues. I'm sure that he could have, held them up. Maybe it's the team wasn't competitive anymore. There's a lot of stuff going on in his personal life. There's the injury, it's new teammates. He's one of those players that really has to play with guys to really understand the players around him. And certainly, I'm not saying that he's a Siakam merchant. Clearly, like he can do a lot of the stuff. Like he didn't need Siakam to do a lot of stuff for him. But it does help that some of your early offense, you're not being guarded by the other team's best player or best defender. And it does matter that you have spacing around you. As atrocious as some of the spacing was for those Nick Nurse Raptors, it was never as bad as teams literally just waving off a guard in the corner. Like Malachi Flynn could shoot respectably,
Yeah.
like Jeff Doughton could at least shoot a little bit. You could say Davion Mitchell can shoot, but it's like teams do not seem to guard him at all.
No, I hear you. Speaking of Siakam, have you seen how he's shooting this year from three? Have you
Pretty
looked
well, right?
I think it's like over 40% so
Yeah.
far. I mean, it's insane. And Tyrese is pooping himself every other night. I mean, I don't know. I said last year, I really liked if you didn't have the name Scottie Barnes and Pascal Siakam, you just had player A and player B. Player A and player B played very, very well together, and it just sucks that they just weren't on the same timeline.
I didn't think they played that well together, personally. Yeah. I thought there was a bit of a clash. I mean, you could see a world in which a younger version of Siakam might have worked. But it always felt like Scottie was always just going to try to tiptoe around it. It felt like, I think you've replicated a lot of what you have with Siakam in RJ. A lot of it. Not all of it, but a lot of it. And honestly, I'm actually questioning right now who's a better passer between the two.
Between who, Pascal and RJ?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, RJ.
Well, that's amazing because that didn't start out that way. I certainly wouldn't have told you that last year. But RJ's development as a playmaker, and again, much younger, defensively, obviously Siakam, the toolsier, bigger player. But the fact that we can even have a discussion right now is crazy. It is
like for RJ is so high. It is so high. I'm not saying like
ceiling.
I'm not saying all NBA high, but if you tell me RJ's 32 years old and he's a 3-time All-Star, I'm not surprised.
I would be very surprised. 3-time All-Star.
You
in
think
the East? Who's he making it over? He's making it over Franz. He's making it over Paolo. He's making it over Scottie. He's making it over.
If the Raptors are a top 3 or a perennial top 3 seed for the next, not this year, not next year, but the year after that, so 2026 until 2032, you don't think that RJ's an All-Star at least 3 of those years?
No, I don't. I think Scottie plus whoever ends up being the second best player on this team, whether that be Grady, IQ, or 2025 draft pick, is more likely. And honestly, two players, with guys like LaMelo Ball still ascending, with guys like potentially Cooper Flagg ending up in the East, Paolo, right? You got Jalen Brunson, you got Tyrese Maxey, you got Joel Embiid, you got Giannis, who's probably still going to get like a couple of All-Star votes. Yeah, Trae Young.
I mean, guys fall off. Guys fall off. I wouldn't be
sure. Guys fall off. I don't think Giannis is falling off in the next 2 years. I don't think Joel Embiid is falling off in the next 3 years.
I don't think Giannis is in the East in 2 years.
That might happen. Troy Knight saying Brandon Miller. Sure, that's another one. Brandon Miller. Like if you want my power rankings of like players under 25 in the Eastern Conference, I don't think RJ Barrett is on the top 12. Sorry. I mean, there are players that are just objectively going to be better. And if he can beat my expectations, great. It's really difficult for a team to have multiple All-Stars, though. It really is. You have to go, and we can't even talk about the Celtics, bro. Like the Celtics are perma stamped to have like 2 to 3 All-Stars every single year, probably 2.
Cleveland might have 4 this year. Cleveland might have 4.
That's not happening. But you take two All-Stars in Cleveland. I mean, I think Evan Mobley, if you tell me Evan Mobley is a 4-time All-Star, I'll believe that. I'll believe that 100%. If you told me Paolo is a 4-time All-Star, I'll believe that. If you told me Cade was a 3-time All-Star, I could even believe that a little bit. But it's just because, again, it's the and it's not even like I think there's a big gap between RJ and Cade. It's actually pretty close for me.
So wait, someone
So
said there's no way 4 All-Stars from one team. Just
Atlanta Hawks.
yeah, I was about to say, does someone want to remind him about the 2015 Hawks?
Yeah, that was a travesty and crazy, and that was assist farming 101.
Kyle
Anyways, yeah,
Kyle
yeah,
Korver.
yeah. Anyways, any final thoughts, man?
No, sir. I'm good. I appreciate it.
All right, thanks for calling in. Appreciate you and 330 people watching. Super cool. All right,
Sir,
take care. Have a good one. Okay, so tough loss. This comment from a name that I unfortunately cannot read says, "I hope Yak isn't part of our long-term plan." I don't think he is, but sure, I don't think he is. But it's tough from a team building perspective. It's really tough, and his defense tonight was really bad, and his decision making in the half court has been really bad. And you really need him to be stable. You need him to rebound. You need him to box out. You need him to do a lot of stuff. His assists have been awesome. His screen assists have been awesome. His screen setting and some of his defensive playmaking tonight was also good. He had good moments and bad moments defensively, right? But a lot of bad moments defensively, especially in transition, especially one-on-one against Ivica Zubac. And it's like, man, if we cannot trust you to go up one-on-one against Ivica Zubac, and probably not going to be able to trust you to go one-on-one against Yusuf Nurkic, who's going to bully you, then what are we good? What are you there for? It's not to stop Joel Embiid. It's not to stop Jokic. It's not to stop Giannis. It's not to guard stretch bigs. It's not to switch out to guards. It's pretty much to stop a guy like Ivica Zubac. No? Am I crazy? Anyway, I apologize if this podcast leaned a little bit negative. Overall, this is still a very, very positive outcome for the Toronto Raptors. You cut it to within 2, and you had a chance at the buzzer again. You lose again. You could have gone to overtime, and then what? Lost in overtime as free throw merchant James Harden goes to the line over and over. I don't know. Noey Malak is the only seeming true center upcoming with potential to stretch and actually shut down the post. I mean, Kaman is young, really young. I think made a video earlier today about second draft guys. It originally titled it "The Raptors Have Mastered" or "Raptors Are Mastering" or "Unlocking Buffetology." And in it, we talked about second draft guys and how valuable they are. Well, there's another part of it that I probably just left off the table, which is you're using somebody else's time to develop, right? At some point, the development that has been poured into Grady and Ochai through their college coach, right? Their pro coach, their previous coach, right? Now their current coach, their personal trainer, all this stuff, it accumulates, right? So if you could take a guy like a Moses Moody right now, okay, Moses Moody a little bit older than the guy you're going to pick with the, I don't know, 33rd pick next year, sure. But Moses Moody a hell of a lot closer to being a good basketball player than that 33rd pick is going to be. And so, it's always a constant trade-off, right? Team control, cheap asset, or, trying to map it closer to Scottie's timeline. And just Scottie's timeline does not mean that everyone got to be 23. Everyone's got to be 22, right? It just means that you fit. Like, can you play together? Can you play off each other? Is there a natural synergy? Immanuel Quickley, there's a natural synergy. I do see a world in which Scottie and RJ can play together, especially if the jump that we're seeing from Grady defensively can be real and actualized. Yeah, it makes it a little bit hard to start them all, but I can see a world in which they can play together. The Yak and Scottie thing is really weird to me, though. It feels like Jakob Poeltl was here for a different reason. And obviously, he's here now. He's a great veteran. He is a good leader. He's obviously a very calming presence. He's obviously able to impart a ton of wisdom. He's a really well coached player, and he has a ton of wisdom. So his purpose right now is basically he's a $20 million coach who plays basketball. And if he's able to help Ulrich, if he's able to help Jonathan Mobo, if he's able to help these guys develop, if you draft the center next year and he's able to help him, then maybe you're getting more value from that contract, right? Peter Lee saying Raps effing trash. Okay, cool. Clutch Tatum saying I hate Yak and Scottie. Hmm. Noe saying issue is that bigs seem to jump into the draft younger and less developed, and I don't see many centers in the draft currently that have the upside worth working towards, and ones like Lively aren't gettable. Well, it's interesting that Lively is a lot about as gettable as Kaman is right now, right? Hmm. You're saying I said X because he wrote X. I hate Yak X Scotty or Yak times Scotty, Yak plus Scotty. Johnny A with the super chat. Thank you. Appreciate it very much. W tomorrow versus the Lakers. Pound the like button. Robs the soldiers. Salute. Can you see my beaten face after 2 failed hard drives? Oh my God. It wasn't even a failed hard drive. So the computer that I initially run off of is a Mac Pro. And sorry, not a Mac Pro, an iMac. Is it 2011 iMac? I'm very proud of it. Okay, because I'm running, I'm running like a Raptors show off a 2011 Mac, and I'm very proud of it. Okay, and yes, I cycle the same 4 hoodies literally for the last 2 years, and I'm really proud of that too. Some of y'all realize that some of these lives do take a spiritual turn towards the end, in which we talk a little bit about life and stuff. And watching your favorite team lose in a game like this can make you real spiritual for a second. But I'll say one thing to you. Are you someone who's tired? Now, I have been up since 7:30 in the morning. It is currently 2:33. I've had 1 coffee today, and I had it at 7:30 in the morning. How am I up right now? So I'll share with you my secret. My girlfriend often laments how I have like this relentless energy to just do a lot of stuff. I'll edit for like 16 hours straight, and she'll be like, "Is it the Asperger's? Like, how do you do this?" And I'll tell you why and how I do it. One of the things is I don't make a lot of decisions in my day. That's how I do it. I don't have to decide what I'm wearing every single day. Just an FYI. Like I have like 27 black t-shirts. They're all different, but some of them are kind of the same. I have 12 shirts. I think 12 shirts that say story over everything, which is our brand. So I'm like happy to represent our brand. Why wouldn't I represent, our brand? And I just don't make a lot of decisions. I eat the same meals every single day. I am the most boring person on earth. I've been wearing the same cap for literally a year. Okay. I have a routine and I don't deviate from it. And it is really simplified. It simplifies my whole life. So it frees up my mind to do creative stuff, like do lives. And it alleviates some of the fatigue that you probably experience from trying to choose what clothes you're going to wear or trying to choose what restaurants you're going to. I personally don't care about that stuff. So I think that it's really important to just make the main thing in your life. What is it in your life that is providing you value? Pour your energy and resources into that. Literally today, my girlfriend and I were talking because she's in Nicaragua right now. She was talking about like how tired she is and how she can't get her brain to shut off. And I'm just like, it's too many variables. There's too many variables. Take a lesson from a guy like Elon Musk. Just hone in. That's why I've often considered autism and Asperger's and spectrum disorders a bit of a superpower, because it's almost like you have no choice but to hone in. I hone in on everything. So becoming obsessed with that is very helpful. But I have found it like, yeah, you know what, I have friends who do this for a living, like the podcast stuff, and if they were on the panel for 3 hours and had to do 4 hours of lives after, they'd be dead. If they had to do a solo 6-hour draft, or it was a trade deadline react pod, they would have no energy for anything. I mean, like, it seems easy enough to talk for 6 hours. Oh, big deal. What are you doing? You're not lifting bricks. But it's because this is the main thing. This, Pendants, my films, that's the main thing. That's like what I'm extracting value from. And, my dog and my family, like that's it. Like, I don't care what food I eat. Like, it's very, very autopilot. Everything's autopilot. Even the movies I'm watching. Shit, I already picked the list. So I went through that stress for like, I want to say it was like a good period of couple of days researching movies to watch, put them all on a list, and now it's autopilot. When I turn on Netflix, there's no choosing. I just go to the next list. Anyways, I thought I would share that with you guys just in case, because this is like a super late live, and I'm assuming a lot of people up right now are night owls. It's also worth noting that not everyone sleeps at the same time, and not everyone's body is optimized to sleep at the same time, and some part of that is actually genetic. So, if you're someone who has a lot more energy at night, embrace it. Unless your job forces you to not be able to embrace it, in which case, probably get a new job. I don't know. Let's look at some comments here. Time to bring the trade bus videos. Fernando showed glimpses today. Is it possible that 230 Springer saying avoid decision fatigue? I completely agree. Hey, Pinsari and chat. Good game again tonight, but couldn't take the W. Gonna have to watch the episode back tomorrow. Appreciate it as always. Except when you eat ice cream for breakfast. I remember you did that one time. Yeah, my life was total chaos that week. I did eat ice cream for breakfast. I think there was a day was it last week? I did an editing project, and one of our clients, shout out to Adam, he's really sweet. So he'll like, every time you do a good job with him, he'll give you like a 2-4 of like Heineken or Corona or something like that. And he ended up giving like 24 beers. And I don't know what got into me, but it was like last week or something for breakfast. I decided to have a beer because we ran out of eggs. So that was like my entire world went into chaos that day. It was like, whoa, did I just have beer for breakfast? That was stupid. But yeah, like I'm not infallible. I'm just saying, like, for the most part, it's like it's a really simple breakfast. It's like, yeah, it's like a bowl of fruit, 3 eggs, and either a piece of toast or a wrap, whatever's available. That's it. Salt, pepper on everything. Tastes wonderful. Awesome. Right? Do you make to-do lists? I have dabbled in to-do lists. I like to create vision boards. I also like to kind of map out my entire year before it starts. So, and I mean, if you hit the target, you hit the target, but then trying to take like little bite-sized goals out of that. So, you have a big bucket goal, like, I don't know, you want to get 20,000 subscribers, or you want to do live every single live, I don't know, something like that, whatever. You want to make $3,000, $5,000, $1,000, $100,000. I don't know what the hell your bucket goal is. You write it at the beginning of the year, right? To me, early this year, one of my big goals for this year was I wanted to pay down my mortgage a little bit because, again, I don't really trust the economy right now in Canada. It's a little bit scary. Inflation, GDP, all that stuff. So trying to get rid of some debt now that I can, so that I'm not, facing higher interest. So that was one of my goals that I stated on January 1st. And I am, thankful to this community that I'll hopefully be able to do 95 to 100% of what I said I wanted to do. So thank you very much, chat. Anyways, I have really appreciated watching this team play basketball. If you want a hopeful note, I know that we criticized a lot, said a lot of stuff about Chris Boucher. I didn't say a lot about Chris Boucher, but nothing we haven't already said. We said a lot about Jakob Poeltl and his stone hands and his brain farts and his defensive regression. We said a lot about RJ Barrett and some of his turnovers and maybe the limited upside and some of that. But overall, division is good. Division is great. The young players are good. They're really good players. Players are getting better. Immanual Quickley looked better, man. Like, he just looks better. This was his first game back. He's going to ease into it, and he's probably going to explode for like 40 points at some point over the next couple of weeks, and people are going to be talking about him like he's Allen Iverson. And then we can go through this whole rigmarole and, is he the best point guard in the league? Is he a top 5 point guard? I'll leave it up to you guys. You chase the narratives you want to chase, but let's try not to be prisoners of the moment. I think it's sane and sensible that if Scottie comes back and, this team starts to look good, we can cross that bridge when we get there. But, right now, it seems like unless Scottie is shooting the way he was shooting last year, especially to start the season, and we can limit some of Davion and Jakob's minutes to some extent, and it's just like, it's such a catch-22 because it's like they do so much good stuff for you defensively, but man, Jakob Poeltl, like in terms of screen setting and stuff, I don't know how you replace that in your lineup. I don't know where you get that. Maybe Scottie can do a little bit of it. Mobo can do a little bit of it. Maybe some of your closing lineups will have Scottie at the 5. I mean, shit, Nick Nurse tried that. Ash saying Scottie needs Derek Lively. Don't we all? Don't we all need a Derek Lively on our teams? I will catch you guys later. Enjoy. Please hit like on your way out. To those of you who've fallen asleep listening to this, I appreciate you very much. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. We'll do a live tomorrow. And for all the stuff I said about I'm not really burnt out right now, I'm a little bit tired. Please respect the fact that I've been up for nearly 20 hours at this point, and I'm still somewhat making some sense. But yeah, so maybe tomorrow we sleep in a little bit. Maybe we do a live instead of doing 3 lives in a day because there's no G League game today. Game tomorrow, we'll do probably like a 5 p.m. live or something like that to talk about some of those players that I mentioned earlier, players that are second draft targets, not to mention draft targets. Billy saying W stream, thank you very much. Jacob Isaac with the super chat, thank you very much, brother, for your constant generosity. I really appreciate it. And thank you, Johnny, and thank you to you. And please, let me know at some point how to say your name. I'd love to be able to pronounce it. And Liam for the super chat, and Gone for the super chat. So appreciate you guys very much. Thank you for your generosity and support to this channel. And hopefully we can continue to exceed your expectations. And let me know in the comments below if you liked this, the video, like the lighting. And, thank you to the community member who gave this really cool red light, which is on my face right now. Talk to you guys later. Peace. It's Young from Korea. We'll call you soon. Oh, okay. So it's Young? Okay, good night. Thank you so much.